Hey, hello, and welcome to Adafruit Show and Tell. It's a weird one because it's me. It's not Lady Ada and Mr. Lady Ada tonight. They're off doing Lady Ada and Mr. Lady Ada things. A little busy with Adafruit business. So here I am stepping in for a guest slot, which I'm excited about because I love doing show and tell. And I love to see what kinds of things people are building. And if you want to come on show and tell, if you're watching this right now, you're like, hey, this is a live show. I wonder if I can get in on that action. You can. Head on over to Discord. The Adafruit Discord is adafru.it/Discord. And if you head over there, you'll see that there's a link for the StreamYard to jump into this very show and tell. You'll be able to take a couple of minutes to show us your project, talk about it. And if the show and tell is full when you arrive, don't worry. As people drop out, other people can join in. So let's first of all check in with our very good friend, Kevin Walseth from Digikey. Hey, Kevin, how's it going tonight?
Hey, JP, how you doing? It's going good.
Right. What's new?
What's new? There's so much new in our industry. Nothing ever slows down, does it?
This is true.
So a couple of things I want to chat about today. I'll share my screen in just a second. Or actually, I'll have you share my screen because I can't do it.
Sounds good.
But something kind of not really Digikey related that I started playing around with today that I don't know how I never did this in the past was Octoprint on my 3D printer. It is incredible. Yeah. How did I miss this and not use this for so many years?
So for people who don't know, tell us about Octoprint, how you've installed it and what you're using it for. And how
so Octoprint, it's still taken apart. I'm getting a better camera for it, but I had it working today. It's basically a Raspberry Pi that you put a firmware on it and you can control your printer from there. So I can go on a web page and control my printer from just logging into my Raspberry Pi. And then you can do really cool time lapses. You can monitor your print. I can monitor my print from my phone. And you know, it's not a Digikey product. This is just something I personally am working on.
Right.
And it blew my mind, for one, how easy it is to set up, for another, how helpful it is.
And what kind of so you're using a Raspberry Pi as the Octoprint, and then your printer is plugged into it for controlling over USB, and then you're talking to the Octoprint from
talking to the Raspberry Pi, which is basically controlling the printer.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Very cool. I had it installed on a printer a few years ago, and I since got rid of that printer, and I haven't reinstalled it, but I should look back into it because I know people love it.
Yeah, and it's actually part of the Raspberry Pi OS now. When you go to install your OS, you can just go through a couple options and pick Octoprint, and it's too easy. They're making it too easy.
Yeah.
So Good. It's great. So the next thing, Digikey related, which is really cool, is I shared this a while back, is our Makerspace startup guide. And this is now done. It is going to print, and we're going to be starting to distribute these and send these out to universities and schools.
That's excellent.
Basically, this is just a guide that walks you through how do you set up a makerspace, what is involved in it. Any makerspace, from a very small makerspace, 500 to 1,000 square feet, to a very large one, basically a full building full of all the really cool tools, soldering stations, CNC tools, any type of prototyping, laser cutters, even woodworking. So it just kind of goes through, and obviously I'm not going to read this to you guys; that'd be way too much. But
that's terrific, though. So you're distributing this as PDFs as well as, are you sending this out as print?
Both. We're printing them, and we're also going to have a PDF on digikey.com. The URL will be digikey.com/makerspace, and we'll have that available for people to check out. And then, like I said, we'll have a print version that we can give out at different events, such as Open Source Hardware Summit, which was a virtual event last week. And hopefully one day we can go back to in-person events.
Yeah. Oh, that's
really
great.
Seeing a lot of you people. I'm up in the Silicon Tundra of Minnesota, and there's not much here.
The Silicon Tundra.
Yeah.
And so your guide, does that cover everything from like small mobile maker workstation types of things that a school might add, up to like inside of a company, to a standalone community makerspace?
Yes, everything in between. And if we get towards the bottom, this is a tentative layout of what you might look for in a small makerspace.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually, this is an image of one of them that we have inside Digikey.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the red kind of sticks out. But then you go into these big ones, the standard makerspace and then the mega makerspace. This is an entire building.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of room and a lot of equipment that you need to put in there. So it kind of gives a tentative list of items as well. What are you going to need for the workshop, for the wood shop, for the electronics area?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty cool guide. We try to be as thorough as we could because we really want to help people start maker spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's great. And the timing is good because people will be getting vaccinated and hopefully back together in person again in the coming months and year. So this is a good time to help people out with setting up a makerspace. Very cool.
That's the goal.
Well, whoops. Sorry, Mark. I was trying to pull your share off of there, and I added Mark's camera. It was red, so anything red, I assume is a Digikey thing. Sorry about that. All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping in, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, JP. Take care.
All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Jepler. Jepler, you're the next contestant on.
Hello.
Going.
I'm good. So if you want to bring up, well, actually, I'll show you first. I've been working on CircuitPython driver for these little cameras, which are the OV7670. They're pretty inexpensive, and so far they worked with Arduino, but we're going to bring that support over to CircuitPython. So if you want to bring up my screen share, I've got kind of a real close in on an LCD, and like here's the video you get. I'm getting 10 frames per second at 160 by 120, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the video quality is fine for what it is. I was really surprised. And so there's a pull request in to add support to the core of CircuitPython, and then we'll have a library to configure individual cameras. Because the next thing we're going to look at is support for a newer style of camera module with a little more capabilities, which I don't know if he's joining us tonight, but Phil B is doing the heavy lifting on that one, and I'm just assembling the pieces. But yeah, that's what I'm up to, and it's one of these things that will be in CircuitPython 7 in the future.
That's great. So I'm curious, these modules, first of all, what interface is this running over? You might have said that, but
I didn't. These use a parallel system. So there are 8 data pins along here, and then about 6 control pins. And basically, so it can send 8 bits at a time from the camera to the computer, because SPI would be a little bit slow since it only does 1 bit at a time. And there's a special peripheral to support that on like the SAMD51 chips. And that's where we started. This is working with the Grand Central, like I showed. Mm-hmm. The next microcontroller we're looking at is the Pico, and there we can do it with the PIO peripheral. Mm-hmm. Is really good at dealing with lots of data. And we think we can maybe do it on some other microcontrollers, but those are where we're starting at.
And where do these cameras come from? There must be some industrial use thing, or it's a gut.
I'm not sure. From the literature, this newer one was designed as a cell phone cam. If you find the data sheet for the OV2640, it shows a lovely flip phone. And then these modules, I don't know where they came from, but like you can buy 5 for $15 on Amazon. So if you want to experiment with them, you do have to do a little bit of surgery. You may have noticed there's a guide on the Adafruit Learn system that shows what you need to do to do that. But yeah, I had not done cameras before like last week, and now CircuitPython is doing it. So
fantastic. That's exciting. Thanks, Jeff. All right.
Thanks, JP.
See you next time. All right, let's see. Next up, we've got Noe and Pedro. Where'd you go? I was going to bring you on. You've disappeared. Okay. Aaron, how about Aaron? Are you ready to go? Let's see. Hi, Aaron.
Hi. So I don't know if we're going to be able to see too well, and my Wi-Fi is a little weird, so if I drop off, I apologize. But my project this week is a baby mobile. So I'm here in my brand new baby niece's room. And I made this mobile out of sunflowers, which is basically made from craft foam on my vinyl cutter. It's got, let's see if I can get below it here. It's got 5 active sunflowers using very high density neopixels. And it's just really cute and beautiful. She loves it, my little baby niece. The other cool thing about this is it is Bluetooth controllable. So I'm using the Adafruit app here, and I can change different modes for the flowers just by pressing the buttons here. But the coolest mode is the sound reactive mode. So now when baby cries or mom sings or anything like that, the sunflowers will react to the sound of my voice, which is
that one is endlessly entertaining for your niece, I'm sure. That's really cool.
I think, yeah, she's gonna, once she figures out how to work this thing, we're hoping there's not a lot of screaming, but
how is sound reactive? You have a mic on your microcontroller. That's not the phone and Bluetooth, right? That's the build itself has a mic on it. Oh, Wi-Fi is being a pain. Let's see. Seems like we'll never know the answer to that. That's my guess. I'm going to guess that that she's got a mic on there. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see more about this project because it's beautiful, and I think Erin's working on a guide for it. So we'll see if she comes back into the stream. We can ask her. But moving on, let's bring on Brent. You ready, Brent? Here we go. Hi, Brent.
Hey, John. How are you?
Thank you. What's happening?
I basically built a little keyboard. You can see it. Sorry about my camera, but I got the little Trinky guy right here. When you click a button, you know, it does the little animation. I've got an ESP32 in here for Wi-Fi. So if I click it, it'll tell me the temperature.
Oh, that's great.
Outside. Oops, sorry. If I do this one, I'm calling into Adafruit IO to get the temperature on each of the different levels of my house. And then there's another one. Can you bring up my screen as well?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Do you have one shared?
Oh, maybe I don't. I'm not sure where to do that.
Let's see.
Well, I'll just tell you rather than take up time. I've got Slack integration to my company Slack as well, so I can send Slack messages at the click of a button. It was initially just to yell at my boss, but for show and tell, I had it toned down so I could say something nice in the chat.
That's thoughtful of you. Oh, that's great. Really cool build. So you said you have an ESP32.
Yeah.
I
used the original Perma Proto. What do you call it? Let me take this apart real quick.
It's like
board.
the breakout. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so yeah, hooked up all these, and then the new what are those boards that just came out, like the Keycap feather?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I got two of those, the individual ones though.
Yep.
Yeah, those are really nice. Can't wait for more of those to come out.
Yeah, for sure. Great. Oh, well, nice build. And what's is that written in Arduino or CircuitPython that you have?
CircuitPython.
CircuitPython. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So
nicely done. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Very cool. It's all about mechanical key switches these days. So.
They're fun.
Nice build. And you did something with them. A lot of times, some the fact that you're going to Adafruit IO and grabbing your temperature, that's and using a Slack integration, that's pretty great. I end up making keyboards with them, usually HID keyboard and USB MIDI.
I do have the mouse working on this as well. I just switched modes. I just haven't done too much with it because it's slow and doesn't work that well. So I decided to do other things.
Yeah.
But that's about all.
Very nice. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right. Let's see. I think next up we've got Liz. Hello, Liz.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
So I've been working on the robot flute project. So if you want to, so I'm using the solenoids to cover the holes for the flute, and then we've got this air pump that blows air into it. And so I have a little demo going where you'll hear 4 different notes, hopefully. So if I press this button, So I don't know how well that came over, but
nice.
I've got solenoid going, yeah. So next will be MIDI, and then I also need to figure out a better power situation because there's a lot happening here with a couple different breadboards, and I'm pulling 5 volts off a Metro because the feather I'm using doesn't have the 5 volts. But I found that even using a 5 volt 10 amp power supply, I was only really able to comfortably have 3 solenoids pressed down at the same time, probably because there's a limit on how much power can go out the pin. So once I get that set, then I should be able to get more notes going, and then add in the MIDI functionality.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's great.
And then the way that I'm covering the notes is just these little NinjaFlex like little nubs that I printed that actually fit over the come on, autofocus or not. It's a little nub that fits over the solenoid tip, so then it's just kind of squishy. Because originally I was doing this kind of almost like a chain thing. I thought I'd be able to like press them down, but that was causing problems, so I switched up to just single.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Little simulated fingertips for each each solenoid, so they get a better grip. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Nice progress on that. Yeah, that's gotta chew up a lot of current. If you're holding those things down for long, they'll get nice and hot. So.
Yeah, this is probably a little haphazard, but.
Excellent. Nice progress report. Thank you for bringing that on, Liz.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Okay. Let's see. Next up, we've got our good friend Todd Bott. Hello, Todd.
Shoot. I just lost my light.
No.
Wait, no. What happened to my light? All right. Well, I don't have much light. But that's okay because most of the things I want to show is on this other camera. Right. And let me switch to it. So you might remember me showing off this little capacitive touch thing on the Raspberry Pi Pico running CircuitPython. Well, I made a circuit board for it, and it works pretty great. And then I can change MIDI channel. And so that's what I've been working on so far.
That is excellent. So those are essentially just capacitive touch breakouts for everything on a bunch of pins.
Exactly. Yeah. This is like this highlights one of the best things about the Raspberry Pi Pico is that it has so many pins, and because of the way the way the CircuitPython has implemented capacitive touch, it's available on pretty much all the pins. And so the circuit board is really simple. It's just traces going out to copper pads. You can kind of see it from the backlight here.
Right.
And the only extra circuitry that's needed are 1 mega ohm resistors that are soldered down on each one. So let's see if it'll kind of focus in. You can kind of see those little surface mount resistors. And so I was thinking this is actually a pretty good first project for if you want to learn how to do surface mount soldering, because it's basically all the same component and there's really hardly anything you can do wrong with it.
Yeah, and you even did you're using the castellated pad footprint for surface mount the Pico on there as well.
Exactly. So the end result is that it's really, really thin, which makes it really puttable in a bag. You can just kind of slip it in. To make it a little bit more protective, I designed a little slide-on enclosure for it, so you can protect it. On the bottom, and then if you want to just stick it in your bag, there's also a top. Just stick the bag on, and now, stick the top on, and now you're fully enclosed. Just stick it in your book bag. You're ready to go. Oh, of course, one of the fun aspects of this is that because it is capacitive sensing, just putting your hand over here triggers everything.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's like industrial noise mode. You just start.
Just bang on this side of the board if you want to cause havoc.
And does that do a calibration on boot up for the capacitance, so you kind of don't want to be touching it when you start it, or does that matter? Exactly
that. Yeah, and the hilarious thing is that the default calibration that CircuitPython does, I think, assumes a much smaller track size, much smaller sensor size, because the default setting was way too sensitive. And so when you were trying to play a key over here, it would actually trigger keys down at the bottom because there's traces going across kind of under your finger. But there's a nice little software hack. You can just sort of raise the threshold of the sensitivity of all the pads, and then it just works great. I was really happy that because when I first hooked it up, and I was like, oh, it works. Oh, but it's all these false triggers down here.
Sure.
But just raise it all up, and then everything works great.
That's great. And is that a calibration, or is that a sensitivity change you had to make in the library, or can you do that in code?
Just in code, yeah,
right.
Yeah, just at the top. And this is all in CircuitPython. Let me see if I can share my screen here real quick. Everything is up on GitHub at PicoTouch, github.com/PicoTouch/Todd. /Toddbot/PicoTouch. And there's the schematics and there's the Gerbers. If you want to order from Oshpark, you can do it there. There's a list of all the materials you need, which is 3 materials: the PCB, the Pico. Yeah, and the installation is like pretty simple too. You just install CircuitPython, you install the needed libraries, copy over the code.py, and you're done. Like all this can be done. Like once you've got it all, it takes like 5 minutes to get it running. So super awesome.
Really nicely done. And I also noticed you had movies in line there in your GitHub. That's a new GitHub feature, right? Just drag a MP4 right into the.
Yeah. So this is one of the things that if you've ever done a lot of GitHub stuff, you might have like try to make GIFs you can embed in your README so that you can like kind of show videos what's going on. And that's a mess because GIFs are like bad for that. But now GitHub allows you to put movies in your issues, in your PRs, in your READMEs. And oh good, it works again. All my mashing made it go to a MIDI channel that I wasn't recognizing. But just today I implemented MIDI channel change, so you can, and then different MIDI channel. And then, of course, house music.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. That's really cool. I want to.
All right. That's it. I'll post the link in the Discord
please
also.
Do. That's awesome.
Cheers.
All right. That was way cool. Hey, there's Scott. Let's bring Scott on. Hi, Scott.
Hello. So I thought I would nerd out with you.
Yeah.
I know I can suck you in. I've got a giant box. There's a bunch of Digikey bags, but in these bags are a bunch of keys, keycaps for different keyboard stuff. So Signature Plastics, who makes keycaps, they sell grab bags.
I didn't know they did that. That's great.
From time to time, they're a hot ticket item, so you have to subscribe for it. But I picked one up. I don't necessarily recommend it because I, like you were saying, like I bought it, but I don't really use it. Yeah. But I thought I'd show some of those off. So what it is it's all sorts of stuff that doesn't pass their quality control. So that's a bad example. This is a good example here. So here's a delay key, but you can see that it's like got this black leaking through. So it's a double shot key, which means it's 2 different plastics, and you can see it coming out there. But it's all sorts of weird, weird keys. Like there's this delay key. Some keys are not double shot. So here's an example of one that like got stuck in the machine or something and had like different like legends stamped on it repeatedly. You can see from the back that it's got you can't see at least the double shot there. Let me show one more. So I tried to separate them out. These are the deformed ones. And I thought it would be cool to see all the different shapes and colors and stuff as a way to try that. So here's a weird deformed one, like it wasn't fully injected or something, which is kind of neat too.
Looks like someone ran out of plastic.
Right. Yeah. So I thought, these are perfect for macro keypads that people have been doing a lot. I haven't actually made one myself, but I'll probably pick one up when we have one in the shop. And then I'll finally be able to use some of these keys to do something.
Perfect. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, and I saw it had some odd like 2U sizes and not.
Oh yeah, so like here's like a full keyboard key. Here's like
space bar,
backspace or shift. I've got them kind of partitioned by different things. Cool. Here's like military delete style thing. All sorts of stuff. So this is just taken out of like one grab bag that I ordered from them, and I kind of like split it by color and things like that. So
a lot of fun. I'm very excited about that. I had no idea that they did that. They're a terrific company. One of our community members, Steve Nerico, who has been on here a few times with some of his keyboard-based music projects, he had customs made there.
Oh yeah.
Little light pipe ones, so they
nice
use double shot, but one of the shots is a clear plastic or slightly frosted, so you can see LEDs shining through.
Yeah,
so
they're definitely like definitely a really reputable company for it. This is just the ones they don't guarantee, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, thanks for bringing those on.
Yeah.
And do you have a show this week? Are you on Friday?
I'm on Friday, and I've been toasting myself doing MicroPython merges. So for anybody who's wondering our relationship with CircuitPython's relationship with MicroPython, I'm sure we'll talk all about it on there. Am I the last person? I have one other thing I could.
We have a couple other people, but
okay.
We also don't have an Ask an Engineer tonight, so I don't mind going long. I always go long when I do show and tell, but this time I won't feel bad about it.
I'll save my other thing. I can always come on next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much, Scott.
Thanks, John.
All right. How about Stuart? Let's bring Stuart on. Hi, Stuart.
Hey, how are you, John?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay. I need to share my screen.
All right. Please do. And I'll bring that on, or if you're going to switch your camera, go ahead.
Okay. This is my first time doing a share screen, but can you see me?
Let's see. I don't see it yet. Are you sharing it with the little share plus icon down at the bottom?
Yes.
Okay.
So sharing screen was canceled. Make sure you click share screen. Okay, just click it again. Share screen. Share.
Sometimes your browser will demand that you agree to some settings to allow the share.
Share on the model, not cancel. Maybe I should wait and get it together. I'm hitting the share screen. Then it comes up your entire screen. I select it and I hit share. And it comes up with sharing screen was canceled. Make sure you click share on the model and not cancel.
You know what I'll do? I can pull you off for a second. You can try to get it, and I'll see if you get that screen up. And it might be a system accessibility permission, depending on your operating system, where your system has to allow your browser to share a screen. So give that a shot. I'll bring you back on. All right. Let's see. How about Micah, who's been patiently waiting. Hey, Micah.
Hello. So I've been working on a couple things. I'm going to share the most complete one first.
All right.
So you might not have guessed, but I'm a teenager and I play Minecraft. So
hey, super.
I'm normal in that way. But oh my god. Oh, I'm sorry. My cat is. I need to get her out of here.
Go ahead. You can tend to your cat if you need to. We're in no hurry.
It's fine. So I've been working on a Minecraft modification, or mod for short, that lets me control a robot.
Ooh.
So, I don't have a real robot to demonstrate it on, so you're gonna have to use your maker imaginations. But
I'm ready.
It's the concept that matters. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Her name is Ida, and she's
Ida.
not normal. All right. All right. So I've got my Discord open here. So this is Minecraft. Blah, 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 blah. Pretty normal. If I hit escape, if I hit V, this. And I'm using. Oh, is it messed up on your screen too, or is that just on mine?
It's sort of window in window looking. Something went strange with display drivers, I'm guessing.
I'm on an M1 MacBook. Display drivers are not fixed for that yet. Is it? Well, if I hit V,
Yep.
Up here it says make robot friend requester config. I'm using the make robot friend hashtag.
Okay.
Because why not?
Yep.
And in base URL, I can type http:// and this is based on a web requester. So how it works is I have a block in Minecraft, and when I use Minecraft's kind of wires to switch on that block, like to power it, the block will make an HTTP GET request to a web server. And that web server can be anything, and it can be running on a robot.
That's cool.
So like if you use Flask, it could just move the robot.
That's excellent.
127.0. You can probably guess what I'm doing right now. I have this web server. It's just a Python HTTP server. And if I type, I need to put a slash here. FBLR. And if I hit OK, nothing seems to have happened. If I hit if I open up my inventory, and I search FWD, can't type today. And if I place this down, that's awesome. A custom block. I added that in my modification. So now if I take a button, just any kind of button, and I place it right here. Watch this screen right here.
Okay.
When I press this button, it used to work. I have no idea what just happened, but what? Oh, I know. 127.0.0. Oh, it's HTTP. I forgot to specify the port.
Right on.
Sorry.
No worries. No hurry. This is really cool.
And if I type F, it makes the request.
That's awesome. Really cool. So you've created this mod yourself from scratch?
Yes and no. I use software to make it because I'm lazy.
For sure, yeah.
And because Java, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, it's not pleasant. It's Java not cool. So it also works for, if I just search block, because all of them have block in it, it's got all these. So if I can put these in my hotbar and I can place them around. I was thinking that because
basically, right?
What?
You've made a big joystick essentially for driving your robot.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you can integrate this with any redstone contraption. Redstone is like Minecraft's wires.
Yeah.
And you can link this up to anything because it uses default Minecraft stuff. It's no weird. It has to be a player interaction.
Right. Oh, that's great. That's really cool. One thought I had is I've been playing around with these LifeX brand RGB light bulbs. They're Wi-Fi light bulbs, and so they can receive HTTP curl commands. So I imagine you could have real-world light bulbs that react to what you're doing inside of Minecraft with the control scheme you've built.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with HTTP requests, although there's a lot of things you can't do with them.
Really cool.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate how HTML is a language that can make HTTP requests but doesn't have variables?
Well, this is really cool. I'm gonna ask you if you have more to show. Come on again next week because I want to keep moving along so we can bring other people on. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Bye. Very cool. All right, hey John Proctor, you ready? Because here we go. Hi.
I am ready. How are you tonight?
Good, thank you. What's happening?
So I want to talk about LEDs in computer cases.
All right.
I love LEDs, but I don't want them to be just blinky. So I have a bunch of these NeoPixel jewels in my computer case. And let me, I have 4 temperature sensors. There are these one-wire temperature sensors in there. And they're all hooked up to pin 5 on the board that I have in there. And so I have let me switch over to this. Inside my computer, there's different, there's 4 different zones where it's sensing temperature. There's an air intake up top. There's the bottom of the radiator. ambient air temperature inside the case, and then the GPU exhaust out on this side. And so you can see this one up here is yellow right now. And if we had a heating event, this is just to simulate that.
I like that heating event.
Slow to respond, but this sensor will heat up, and now it's turning red inside the case. So I've got this on a board plugged into an internal USB device. So it's always just showing me the temperatures inside the case.
That's great.
Yeah. So
that's a really cool. Yeah, it's a really cool visualizer for what's happening. In the real physical space. That's really cool.
Yep. And then since everyone seems to be doing keyboards, I've got a little my Pico and a little keyboard going, and right now I've got it set up as a MIDI. So I'm working on a MIDI and a macro keyboard. And
cool.
I'm always ordering more hardware. I want to do a second version of that circuit board to get it working a bit better.
Really cool. And so, John, for the computer case, you have a microcontroller in there that you said is plugged into the USB for power, yes. And it's what's running the temperature sensors and the NeoPixels. Is that how that's built? Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Nicely done. That's a practical use of all this stuff. I love it.
Yeah, it's a fun way to see what's going on inside the case, and it reports the temperatures out, and you can see like there's a 14-degree temperature difference going across the radiator. So that's it's always interesting to see how effective they are and what's going on.
Oh, and I just realized you probably can code it anytime you want from that computer because it's always plugged in as a as a USB device.
It's a bit of a problem because I've got 4 microcontrollers plugged in right now, so I always have to figure out which one I'm going to.
Yes.
But
yes, this happens to me a lot actually, where I'm like, oh gosh, what did I just save code.py to? Maybe it wasn't the one I thought I meant to.
Well, I'll give you a hint. I put like temperature control.py in there, so when I go save as, I can go figure out or open. There's something there to give you a hint about which controller you're on.
Yeah, that's smart. And you can also rename. It doesn't have to be named circuit. CPython drive, the CircuitPython drive, you can rename that drive, which sometimes is a help. Sometimes you aren't paying attention, like me, and and you forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, very nicely done. Thanks for bringing those on. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Bye. All right, let's check back in with Stuart and see if you've had any success with some screen share action.
Yeah, I believe so. Can you see the screen?
Let's see. I still don't see a separate screen showing up to share.
Okay, hold on. Let me do this. And what about, no, still same thing's coming up.
Rats.
Yeah. Maybe I'll join next week.
Okay. What are you working on? What's your project, if you can describe it?
Well, it's at the office. I built it last year, and it's like a periscope. I interfaced a microcontroller with a Nexion display that talks two-way to the controller. And I have a 360-degree PRI on the other side of the cubicle, which hangs on the cubicle. And it's a reverse car video. And I have a camera that escalates up, and then the video is by my computer. And as people walk by, I have a NeoPixel on there, and the Nexstar display has a password. I punch in the password because you can make menus. And once I open it, I have a menu for my NeoPixel and my motor where I can test it and press it. But yeah, I'll try to share it next week.
Good. Now, well, I'm glad you described it though, because now we have some anticipation for when we get to see this. That sounds amazing. Thanks, Stuart. Okay, we'll see you next time.
Okay, no problem.
Bye. Oh, that sounds cool. I can't wait to see that. All right, let's bring on Dannon. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Not too bad. Did you have a good trip to New York City? I can see that you're an Adafruit.
Right here in the Adafruit factory, I think, or I'm in my workshop, maybe.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Hey, and I wanted to give a quick shout out, if I could, to Dan H. Dan and the brothers did was it getting started with CircuitPython back on CircuitPython Day in 2020. Great video. I was enjoying that before this, and
excellent.
Lots to learn. I'm actually going to go back and find my CPX and then like work along with them. So it's really
perfect.
awesome.
Good to hear.
But when I came on to show, I lucked out and I managed to cross an electric bike on Facebook.
Cool.
At a decent price, but it only has a 7.5 amp battery, and I'm like 250 pounds, so it doesn't get me too far. So I lucked out, and I came across a bunch of Ryobi lawnmowers, and so I have a few batteries to work with. So I thought I'd do a mobile charger. And I'm no engineer or whatever, so if anybody on Discord wants to tell me I'm like shouldn't do that, that's going to explode, I'd appreciate that.
That's a good, that's maybe a good one to run by people. Sure.
But it I don't know, to me in theory, but yeah, it'll just whoops, and of course live demo. Anyways. Well, okay, battery goes in that far and then plugs in, charges the bike either while it's in motion or when I'm at a store. Obviously, when I'm at a store, I can shut it off and charge it. But yeah, and also a thank you to the oy vey. I'll pick up my mouth later. Another thank you to the brothers when they were playing with arrays. I went and picked up one of my own, and this I'm going to try. I don't know what I'm going to do as far as waterproofing or whatnot, but I thought it would make a real good big old tail light.
Yeah, that's smart. It's viewable from the side as well, so helpful for cars.
The whole thing of not wanting to get run over, silly little request, but
I was fortunate enough to be able to ride my bicycle to work here when I worked at Disney Animation, and I think the very first thing I ever bought from Adafruit was the spokes, the LED spoke persistence of vision thing to put on my wheels so that cars wouldn't hit me from the side because I was riding home at night. So that was like maybe the very first Adafruit thing I ever got.
That is awesome. That was such an awesome kit. I love that.
Yeah. I had the Batman logo on my front wheel and just like flashing red on the back or something like that. Yeah.
Nice. Riding in style.
That's right. Well, very cool. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that, and definitely use the resources of the Discord, the Adafruit Discord, to run high power charging things by them.
Well, because the voltage on the Ryobi batteries, they're 40 volts, and the stock charger for the bike is 42.3.
Oh,
so it's not a big step.
Right.
So I don't know. I just didn't know like if they're like the whole wave signals and all of that funkiness that I honestly have no clue about. I didn't know if there was anything in that realm that's like throw up some red flags or whatever. But
yeah, well, it'll be a learning experience for sure.
This is true. Everything's a learning experience until it blows up in smoke.
Yeah, and even that's a learning experience. All right, well, thank you so much, Dan, and we'll look forward to seeing some of that progress next time.
Excellent. Have a great
Bye-bye.
one.
Thank you. All right, we've got Ariel, who's been waiting patiently in the wings here. Hello, Ariel. How are you?
It's Ariel, but
Ariel. Hi, Ariel.
So I'm a first-year engineering student, and for our final project, because semester is just ending, we had to help this woman out who had a couple disabilities, and she couldn't really move, but she really liked to paint. So I took an RP 2040, which is in there, and some L298N motor drivers, and made this little thing. Here. Oh my God, my headphone's disconnected. But here, let me turn that on. And then you can see as you move, oh, it's green, so it's messing it up. But as you move this, I move this to the thing, and then here you press it and it goes down. Press it and it goes up. Let me reconnect my headphones 1 sec. Which one is this? Left. Live demos.
These things happen. These things happen.
Yeah, live demos. Okay, there you go. I can hear you now.
All right.
But yeah, that was my final.
That's terrific. Yeah. So you have joystick control, motor driver, and a XY axis, as well as an actuator for sort of brush up, brush down.
Yeah. On Thingiverse, the person who designed the actual like mechanism of the paint plotter, his name was DIY Machines, I think. So check him out.
All right.
But yeah, no. So she doesn't like to like grip things. So we built this joystick, this custom 3D printed in green, but
yes,
yeah. So I just turned it onto like one of those casino style, or not casino. What am I saying? Arcade
like
style.
arcade.
Yeah, arcade style joysticks, which just has like a screw, and then you can put your hand in it, so you don't have to hold it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So
would you give us another demo? I'll pull you full screen, and if you can.
Okay. So here, so you put your hand in, and then you move it, and let's say I want, then it paints. So right now there's hardened paint on the end, but yeah, so you just move it around however you want. You can move it on angles. It's an 8-axis. It's not infinity axis. It's not an analog, but it still works. And then yeah, you can just turn it. That's the whole thing.
Terrific.
I posted a YouTube video for it. We made a funny little pitch on Show and Tell a while back.
Oh, that's great. And someone asked in the chat about loading the brush. Do you set like little paint pots off to the side maybe so that you can go and add paint?
So we were wondering about that, and we were like, so we only had 6 weeks to do this, which is a very short amount of time relatively. So you could have added like just like paint here, and then it can just like kind of run into the paint. We had ideas for that, but in the end we needed to just finish it and make something. So what we said was, when you're painting, you have like a little kind of like thing to grab paint out of, if it's like a really deep, like here, before I have it right here, 1 second. So this is too deep to grab with like a paintbrush. So you use this little tool just to like stick it in and grab the paint. So what you can do, stick it in, grab the paint, rotate it to the side, and then just put it on, and then just turn it back.
Excellent. Yeah. Nicely done. Thanks for sharing that, Ariel.
Yeah.
And if people want to find out more about it or check out your YouTube video pitch, where would you put a link in the chat?
Sure. I'll put it's on Show and Tell. But here, I'll put the YouTube video. And the GitHub is in the description for all like the CAD and everything.
Super. There we go. It's over in the Discord chat for anyone who's wondering. Thank you so much, Ariel. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, and Mark, I think you're going to be playing us off here. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, just a small update on the Show and Tell badge I showed last week. I finally got revision 2, where I actually had the correct pad placement for the IMU. I've never soldered anything this small before. And I put the Lego piece on there just to show all my friends what I was talking about. I'm actually remarkably surprised this is now working after I put it through the toaster oven numerous times to both try to solder it back and to remove bridges. And one thing I'm discovering that I really should just buy is a hot air gun to work on small areas without having to fry everything. But I figured at this point it's there. And if I
love the Lego stud for scale. That's excellent.
And a 1x1 Lego stud works so well because everyone knows how small those are.
Yeah.
And then I think that really got it. And then I was telling them, it's like, and there's 16 pads on the bottom of that thing, where I'm discovering I'm older now and needed to find a old magnifying headset that my dad had in the basement. And that's been invaluable. But the best part is when I actually hooked it all up, I'm actually getting sensor data from it. And if I move it around, the gyroscope is responding. I finished in CircuitPython literally 15 minutes before Show and Tell started. as all great things. So yeah, I still have to actually write a driver and make it work better than it is. But yeah, the
Great
badge
progress.
comes along.
Can we? Was that a photo, or do you have a camera you can show us the badge with? Was that a still?
It was my camera, but I think it's disconnected. So this is the badge that I've been working on. If I flip to this view, oop, this webcam is not nearly as good as the SLR I've got going. Yeah, so this was the previous version that I showed last week. I will still need another revision, as these header pins were not quite far enough, or sorry, not quite close enough together. And that's exactly what I did. I kept telling myself I need to bring them closer. They're too far away. So when I went in to change it, I promptly made them farther away, because it's the last thing I said in my head. So
oops.
Yeah, didn't help my cause there. And I figured I'd probably mess something else up. But yeah, the fact I finally got a chip that I never thought I'd be able to get attached to anything.
Yeah, that's impressive. Nicely done.
So,
all right. Well, thanks for sharing your progress, and we'll see you with some more on that next time, I hope.
Thanks a lot.
All right. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and thanks for sticking with us. This was a long one, because why not? There's a Ask an Engineer happening tomorrow night rather than tonight, so we had a little bit of free airspace here. So we took it up with some cool projects. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time. And be sure to tune in tomorrow at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern time for my John Parks Workshop show. And then at, I believe it's going to be 8 o'clock Eastern for Ask an Engineer, but check our blog for details. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.